What is happening, Spider friends? Welcome back to SpiderMan PS4 on K-Wing's Let's Plays. And yes, there's a brand new suit. Your eyes do not deceive you.
Whoa.
It is the amazing Andrew Garfield from the 2012 reboot of Spider-Man.
Awesome.
After Tobey Maguire was kind of put into forced retirement, I guess you could say, there was no Spider-Man 4. Instead, we had Andrew Garfield's take on Spider-Man. And yes, his only weakness is small knives. So, I thought this spider suit was actually pretty interesting. It's kind of like an athletic approach to superheroes. They changed up the costume quite a bit from its traditional look. And I didn't actually hate this. I thought it was like, wow, this is kind of like a movie costume. And, you know, the interpretation was if Spider-Man was real, he would probably piece together a bunch of different, like, sports things to create his suit. And that's exactly what happened. He's not wearing regular boots. He's wearing, like, a type of sneaker over his costume to give him better traction and things like that. They brought back the web shooters from the comics and some other things. So, yeah. And, of course, Spidey is muted because this is just a little costume showcase. You guys need to make sure that you update your PS4. Those of you, hopefully, that are still using the PS4. Or you can download this game and put it onto your PS5, which we're actually playing on our PS5. This is the PS4 version. We don't dare to the Ultimate one just yet. Or whatever it's called, because it would brick our PS5. But PS4 games play just fine.
Yeah.
And it looks pretty good. I mean, you know, we were doing both the Miles Morales game on PS4 Pro, and we're technically playing PS4 Pro Spider-Man right now. So
Awesome. So this is actually on the Spider-Man 2018 update.
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Yep. There were 3 suits that were added. We'll be looking at all 3.
Nice.
And we're kicking things off with our friend Andrew Garfield.
Andrew Garfield Spider-Man suit.
Yep.
Oh, the guy who probably would have been Spider-Man for a long time if he had just made that meeting with the Sony guy.
I know. Out of all the unique ways to get rid of a spider person, so only Tom Holland will be joining Spider-Man Tobey Maguire with 3 pictures. Like, 3 Spider-Man pictures.
Yeah.
He has Far From Home, or sorry, he has Homecoming, Far From Home, and then whatever Spider-Man 3 is going to be called. And then Tobey Maguire had Spider-Man 1 through 3. Andrew Garfield stops at 2.
I honestly, like, Spider-Man, the one that Andrew Garfield did, I felt like a lot of what he did, like, the movie felt more like an actual comic book character in a movie than a lot of the Spider-Man films I saw, but his character in general, like, the actor and stuff, I didn't find him, like, very relatable, like I did with Tobey Maguire and stuff. Like, I felt like he was kind of like a jock almost, like, and I was just kind of like, I don't know, it doesn't feel like an everyman person to me. Like, I didn't really relate to him.
Yeah, that's the one thing that I felt like Tobey Maguire was very good at too, is he just like had this kind of like average guy charm. And Andrew Garfield was kind of like that, you know, punk emo guy in high school that, you know, kind of had his own clique and had his own version of cool. There is no version of cool for Peter Parker. That's the thing.
He was never cool.
No. The cool aspect of Peter Parker comes out when he's Spider-Man.
Yeah, I mean, it actually feels to me the same like when, like I did, you know, when we first started doing YouTube and stuff, because people are like, well, what was your life before? Where are you in social media before you guys did YouTube? And it's like, like Tobey Maguire says, nobody knows who I was before I put on the mask. And that's exactly what he was, almost like invisible.
Tobey Maguire never said that line.
Oh, who said that?
Bane!
Oh. Oh my gosh.
No one know who I was.
I'm an idiot. Did I really just say that then?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Oh, I thought
that
you
just
said
happened.
that.
Nope. That was a Bane
well,
thing.
it still goes. It's fine.
It still goes. Okay.
Well, I don't know. Why do you have me on this commentary video? I really messed that up.
That's fine.
Comic book knowledge with Amber.
Whoa.
So, as you know from comic books trivia,
So you know from comic
Spider-Man
books,
said no one knows who I was before I put on the mask. Really, Amber? Did Spider-Man say that? Yes.
Maybe.
All right, it was Bane. I'm sorry, but I'm just saying, like, I feel like people could totally relate to Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man because anyone could be Spider-Man because he was basically, I mean, it's not like he was nobody. Obviously, he had a real life. You know, he knew his Aunt May. That's why his family was so important, you know? Because everyone's important to their family, or, I mean, some people's families are nice. But I'm just saying, like, he's just your normal, he didn't have any claim to fame or anything. It's not like he was the jock or, you know. And the same with, like, I feel like, honestly, who was the person that played Mary Jane in that?
Emma... Was it Emma Stone?
No. Andrew Garfield won, Emma Stone. But I was thinking of she played Gwen Stacy, but, like, who's the person that played Mary Jane in the Tobey Maguire thing again?
Kristen Dunst.
Oh, yeah, Kristen Dunst.
Yeah.
I feel like she does a really good job of just being, like, just your girl next door. Like, she just happens to be beautiful, and she's just kind of free-spirited. Like, she doesn't have any expectations. Like, she's dating a jock, but it's almost like she could like anybody because she's just very open and stuff. And I feel like that she did a perfect job being Mary Jane with, that was a great movie. Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst, like, they did a good job.
So let's discuss.
Oh, right, I'm sorry. Yeah, and then Andrew Garfield was there too.
Andrew Garfield.
Later.
His first movie wasn't bad. It kind of set the pace of that like new reboot. Everything was going really well for him. Then Spider-Man 2 came out, which was pretty controversial because they killed Gwen Stacy, which you knew was going to happen. And they planned a trilogy. They were going to bring in Mary Jane in the third movie and a bunch of other stuff. And then, of course, Andrew Garfield didn't show up for a special thing for Sony in Japan and stiffed the then, chairman or CEO of Sony. And that dude yeeted him real quick. It didn't matter who he was. I mean, the guy was like an upcoming star as Spider-Man. He had the whole world in front of him. And Sony was like, you dishonor us. You done. And that was it.
I felt like Andrew Garfield's character was so cocky in the movie. And I feel like that was kind of part of his own personality coming out. It's very... I don't know, want to say, like, his personality is like Sonic the Hedgehog, kind of like very cocky, like... He didn't really think, he kind of thought he was invincible, and it turned out he wasn't. Like, honestly, if I was him and I got fired because I didn't show up, I honestly would just, send a million fruit baskets and try to apologize to get my job back. Because, like, I would not want to give up being Spider-Man.
But he's part of that emo culture, so, I mean, you know, and if an adult wrongs you, there was nothing you did wrong. There was no responsibility you need to take for it. It was all the adult's fault.
No,
because
you missed the meeting. You
I know
were wrong.
that. I'm not in that culture. I'm just telling you that's the mindset.
Yeah, I know. And then, like, people talk about it on social media, even further burning the bridge, and it's like, whoa, it would be better if you apologized, because then you could, I mean, imagine... He would have what does he do now? I've never seen him in another movie.
I don't know what he's doing. He's rumored to appear in Spider-Man 3 with Tobey Maguire and Tom Holland and all these other characters. And it may actually be a SpiderVerse movie. So the main villain of Spider-Man 2 was Jamie Foxx's Electro. And right. Jamie Foxx's Electro is coming back in Tom Holland's Spider-Man movie as Electro.
Oh my gosh. So... They're gonna have different villains and heroes from different movies?
That's the rumor. The rumor is that Tobey Maguire, Andrew Garfield, Jamie Foxx, and, you know, some other people are gonna show up as Spider-Man. And it's gonna be kind of like an Into the Spider-Verse movie of sorts. And Tom Holland is not really happy with that because he wanted his third Spider-Man movie to be just his Spider-Man movie.
I agree, though. Like... It does feel like they're rushing in and bringing all these other people in.
Well, of course they are, because they want to beat DC to the, the multiverse punch. So, Doctor Strange... The problem is, Marvel's going to keep delaying their movies because of the pandemic. DC's actually going to get their multiverse stuff kind of introduced early next year, because 2021 is going to kind of start the Flashpoint stuff at the climax or as part of the Justice League Snyder Cut thing, which is going to lead into the Flash movie that's about, like, 3 Batmen so far. You got Ben Affleck, Michael Keaton, possible cameo from Val Kilmer, and some other living Batman actors and stuff are going to make appearances, as well as Batman villains, and, you know, some other past DC characters may appear that were cast as actors to play, like Nicolas Cage as Superman
Oh
from
my
the
gosh.
90s could show up as a Superman in either Keaton's or Val Kilmer's world. You don't know. So, I mean, it's a race for the multiverse now. It all depends who gets out first. Will it
Why-
be Marvel
Oh my
or will it
gosh.
be DC?
Why are they always doing the same thing at the same time?
And they both run out of ideas really quick, and also the one who gets to the multiverse first, just like the one who got to the team-up verse, Marvel, they got to the Avengers before DC got to the Justice League. Whoever gets to the multiverse first will win this next decade of, superhero movies. So
Yeah.
Tom Holland is not really on board with the whole Spider-Verse thing, but, Tobey Maguire is actually somewhat interested into it, and Andrew Garfield, I don't know, he hasn't really said much about it, but the problem with Andrew Garfield's second Spider-Man movie is they basically had the curse of Spider-Man 3, Tobey Maguire's film, where there was just too many villains, and, nobody
Yeah.
really knew what was going on. Also, you rushed the death of Gwen Stacy. You had a different version of Peter Parker that we saw in the first movie. He had a lot of character growth, but, it just,
Yeah.
it was a
Well,
rush mess.
The thing is, like, in Tom Holland's Spider-Verse, though, we're not even sure who Mary Jane really is.
There is no Mary Jane. There's, what's-her-face?
There's MJ,
Yeah.
but she didn't say her name was Mary Jane, and I don't know, it's just... Nothing has been... None of the actual main storylines of Spider-Man, like, with his love interest and stuff, have even been introduced, and they're already bringing in other... If I was Tom Holland, I would be very kind of upset, because basically you're taking the limelight from him. Like, you're kind of using... The thing is, like, he doesn't feel like a stuck-up person like Andrew Garfield, no offense, but Andrew Garfield really rubs me the wrong way. The fact that you would not... You should at least call into the meeting or explain, like, you're gonna be sick. Like, why would you just not show up?
I'm sorry, that's just so funny, though.
And I just feel like, I feel like Tom Holland is the kind of person that literally would go somewhere without even being paid and does, like, backflips for people and...
Goes to children's hospitals, he's an acrobat, yeah.
He just, like...
He's Spider-Man.
Kind of, he does things for people out of the goodness of his heart. So it's like... Compared to, other people that can't even do the things they're supposed to do. But I don't know. I feel like they're kind of taking advantage of Tom Holland because he's such a hard worker or he's doing well. His movies are being successful. They're like taking advantage of him. Like, oh, okay, he's successful. So now we'll throw all these people that kind of weren't successful into his movie and try to make him carry them all in his movie. And it's kind of like,
Well, actually,
okay.
no, he wouldn't be carried. Like, the reason why more people would come see his Spider-Man movie wouldn't be because of Tom Holland. They would be there for Tobey Maguire.
Oh, yeah. Okay, you're right. I guess Tom Holland can't really carry Tobey Maguire. It's the other way around.
No, and Tobey Maguire hasn't really done a movie in so long, and people still... He's kind of like their Adam West or their Michael Keaton, like Marvel. He's the first Spider-Man movie actor. Technically, Nicholas Hammond is the first Spider-Man movie actor, the guy from the 70s. But actually, the Spider-Man thing was more or less like a TV show instead of like a movie. But I guess they planned on having that Spider-Man movie in the 1970s actually in theaters, but it became a TV movie or, some type of... Ow. Okay, that's totally in Andrew's character. That's fine. That's fine. You can drop the car. It's okay.
Oops.
It's okay.
Oh well, not my problem.
If it was a true Spider-Verse, then you would have Nicholas Hammond, who's still alive, have him cameo as Spider-Man, or an older Peter Parker,
Yeah.
or something like that. That would be interesting.
Honestly, in Andrew Garfield's defense, it's possible he was very sick. Like, maybe he did call.
He had a little jet lag.
However, still, like, if you were fired, like, if I was fired, I would still apologize, even if it wasn't my fault. It's your it's your boss. Like, it's not really... I don't know. It's just weird.
No, I know.
Anyway, but you're
funny.
right. Like, people have been waiting for Tobey Maguire, and he is like the Adam West of Spider-Man. Like,
I'd say he's the Michael Keaton.
he is like the Michael Keaton of Spider-Man. But yeah, I mean, like, I think that, although Tom Holland probably wants the limelight in his own Spider-Man movie, honestly, people have to make money, and like they do have to compete with DC or whatever. So they're gonna have to They're gonna have to make this a multiverse Spider-Man.
Oh, they're going to have to, because the Flash movie's multiverse, the end of the Snyder Cut, or rather the beginning of the Snyder Cut, leads into Flashpoint, leads into Flash's movie. So 2021, like, everybody, the big thing that's happening in 2021 that people are the most excited about is the Snyder Cut, because the Snyder Cut is basically going to soft reboot the DC Cinematic Universe that will lead into that Flash movie that's only a year later.
Yeah.
And, you know, more info will come out for Michael Keaton and stuff like that. But in terms of Spider-Man actors, I just want to put this in perspective, like, for a Bond thing. Tobey Maguire is the Sean Connery of Spider-Man. So he is, you know, he's very, very big. And then you would have Andrew Garfield is not the Roger Moore. He is the Timothy Dalton. And then the and Pierce Brosnan is Tom Holland.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, it would be a major, major thing if they were able to score that. And, you know, most people are on board. I'm sure they could twist what's-his-name's arm, because he's worried about Sony also fast-tracking a live-action Miles Morales, which would yeet Tom Holland as the Spider-Man actor.
Yeah, but why can't they do a universe where they're both around, though?
You mean like the Spider-Verse?
Well, no, why can't Miles and Peter are never alive in the same universe?
Sometimes, but it's...
But yeah, maybe that's why they're doing the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
To introduce Miles and maybe some other people.
So it's already come out that the guy that Danny Glover played, or Donald Glover, whatever the name is, that rapper guy who was in the Han Solo movie, like playing Lando, young Lando, he was actually Aaron Davis. So the guy that Spider-Man, you know, webs to his car and says he's late to go see his nephew, that's Aaron Davis. So the nephew he's talking about in Tom Holland's Spider-Man world is, of course, Miles Morales.
Oh, wow.
And you have to remember there's a 5 or 6 year time skip after Thanos snapped the world. So that means if Miles wasn't snapped, Miles is almost the same age as Peter now. Because Peter is just finishing high school because, you know, he was gone. So.
Oh, right. Okay.
But my reasoning is, and a lot of people believe this too, the reason why J. Jonah Jameson was brought in at the end of Tom Holland's last Spider-Man movie is there's going to be some consistency for the other Spider-Men to bounce dialogue off, specifically Tobey Maguire, because he has a JJ in his universe.
And he's played by the same person.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So it's like an alternate version. Well, and that would make total sense, because people say if you go to an alternate Earth, I mean, this is what people say, and you find people in that Earth, like your own family or whatever, they could be an alternate version of your mom or alternate version of your boss, but they look exactly the same. It's just another version of them. Or they could be slightly different. Their hair could be different. Mm-hmm. But it's still them. They're just an alternate version of themselves.
Yep.
So that would completely make sense. Like, oh my gosh, Luke, that's blowing my mind. Maybe they put Jonah Jameson in there to have like a common thread between the universes.
Yep, and you know, Sony saying that Spider-Man was leaving the MCU, maybe the plan was not the Venom Spider-Man battle that people wanted to see, Tom Hardy, Bane versus, you know, Tom Holland Spidey. Maybe they were opening the floodgates to their, you know, Spider-Verse early, which would get people talking more about the MCU and more about Sony. But, of course, you know, Tom Holland and all these other people petitioned to get the Spider-Man movie verse back into the MCU, and they did. So now it all comes down to, like I said, it's a race for the multiverse. Will it be DC first, or will it be Marvel? And who plays catch-up?
Sony still owns Spider-Man, though? Or?
Yep.
But, yeah.
They own all the film and TV rights and all kinds of stuff.
So Disney does not own Spider-Man now?
Not 100%, no. Nope.
Well, I don't think that we should let Disney have. Well, no, they don't have it. They're just working together.
Disney now has the X-Men and the Fantastic Four characters and Ghost Rider and a bunch of other former Fox-owned properties.
The only problem with Disney owning all this stuff is, yes, they can make all these movies, etc. Mm-hmm. But something like, oh my gosh, I can't remember. The guy who played Deadpool, what's his name again?
Ryan Reynolds?
Ryan Reynolds. Something he said is like, that he would want to joke or he would want to write the script his way, and Disney would just X it out.
They already did. They fired his writing staff, the people responsible for making the Deadpool 1 and 2 movies successful.
Yeah.
And they already proved that they could actually make a Deadpool like PG-13 movie by, the PG-13 version of Deadpool.
That's why he didn't want to do it with Disney, because he felt they had it's so oppressive. Like,
he doesn't have creative control anymore.
It was like you had to run every single thing by them. And also, as we've seen, many of the decisions that Disney has made, although they make flashy outfits and extremely, extravagant sets, etc., they ruin a lot of stories. They ruin characters. They ruin backstories. They don't care. They just care about making money. They just, they ruin so many things. Anyway.
Yep. So anyway, if you guys are wondering, hey, how do I get the Andrew Garfield skin? Well, first thing you need to do is plug in your, actually reinstall your Spider-Man game, because honestly, how many of you guys wiped Spider-Man from your PS4? Now, we reinstalled Spider-Man on our PS5, but we did not upgrade to the Remastered Edition because, it's not as good. The Remastered Edition has a lot more graphical capabilities, but it also strips the world of a lot of its life. So most of these cars and stuff that you see moving, like basically erase, we'll say, like more than half of the cars in New York City.
Why?
Because the graphical engine they had to get rid of some stuff in order
so it takes away the heart of the game, basically.
Yeah, it takes away a huge aspect of New York. So us web-slinging through thick traffic and seeing all the people on the streets, they get rid of a lot of that. But it does appear again in the Miles Morales game, so it's just kind of like, why couldn't they get that working for the Spider-Man Remastered? I don't really know. The world will never know, but that's what it is. So all you have to do is update your system. You don't have to pay for these, just like the Raimi suit. This is a free update because these suits were included in the Spider-Man Remastered, and because Insomniac is a really cool company, they're like, we're just going to add them to the PS4 version as well.
Yeah, I feel like we've played other things by Insomniac besides Spider-Man, but I don't know what it was.
I think it's Ratchet and Clank, maybe?
Oh, yeah, it's possible.
I don't know. I'd have to... Insomniac is one of my favorite, current developers. They make a lot of fun games,
in general, look at how well Sony in general has dealt with the character Spider-Man, and how kind of messed up Disney has dealt with all the other characters. You have to give Sony a hand for doing a really good job with Spider-Man over the years.
The only thing I think they did a great job with the Spider-Man property, going all the way back to Maguire's Spider-Man. The thing that I have not liked about Tom Holland's Spider-Man, I think he's perfect and he's a great actor, but he hasn't really got a chance to be his Spider-Man. He's more like Spider-Boy. He's kind of like, his entire world revolves around his version of Pen Parker, which is Tony Stark. And when Tony Stark is gone, even his last movie was still cleaning up Tony Stark's mess, because they made a Spider-Man villain a former jilted employee of Stark Enterprises. And he wasn't. The dude who played Mysterio was never, ever, ever involved in the Iron Man world. And it's just kind of like, even after his death, Tony Stark is still influencing the Spider-Man movies.
Yeah, I feel like it was a really cool, kind of an aside or an interesting thing, that Spider-Man did, where he had some training from Tony Stark, because there is a suit with the Iron Spider and everything in the comics, so that was really neato. But to make everything about that, that's how I feel like they've been going through the Tom Holland story of Spider-Man so slowly and aging him so slowly that I feel like to actually get to the end of his saga, you need 7 more Spider-Man movies. Because, he is just starting out still. He's still in training, honestly, with Tony Stark. He's not anymore, obviously, this next movie, but it's he just stopped his training and he's just starting out, really, it feels like. Because every movie that he's done, he's always telling his friend, oh my gosh, this is so great. Spider-Man Iron Man gave me this. And he's acting kind of like Miles does in this game, honestly, where he's just always talking to his friend and always like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I'm a real superhero. But he hasn't really actually just been like, oh, okay, I am a superhero. I have to like, let's go do a bunch of superhero stuff now. I don't know if that makes sense, but
Yeah, it makes sense.
like I feel like they're gonna end his saga after like his run as Spider-Man for the third movie is gonna be over. Like that's gonna be him.
No, I don't. I mean, they're trying to make Tom Holland like the next Iron Man. Like, so he's gonna be milked. Like,
I mean, I don't.
He won't get to do anything else other than Spider-Man.
I don't want to watch 7 Spider-Man movies. I'm just saying.
No, not just 7 Spider-Man movies. He'll be in the new Avengers movies. He'll be popping up like all over New York City, like little cameos.
I would get tired if I was him. Like I would be like, oh.
And he's young too, so you would see him. As long as nothing ever happens to him, like he's Thanos snapped in real life, you're gonna see a lot of Tom Holland Spider-Man. Like he is the face of Marvel.
Those Disney contracts are brutal, though. Like, what if he gets worn out doing it? He wants to do something else. He won't be able to leave.
Well, he's not fully a Disney person. That's why he's able to do Sony's version of Uncharted. He's a Sony employee that is contracted to work with Disney.
So he's not actually under really like a huge strict contract with Disney.
The only reason we did not get another awesome Sherlock Holmes movie from Robert Downey Jr., which we are now, is because he was ironclad with Disney. He couldn't do anything else for the past 10 years other than
that's very brutal. Like,
Iron Man.
And what would bother me is like just in general, like I mean, I've been burnt out by school and like show choir and stuff, and I wasn't even really getting paid or whatever, but I just felt like even though all these great opportunities were happening to me, I was being worked so hard that I just hated it. So I couldn't even think about like the fact that, oh wait, you're at all these great opportunities. I just couldn't. It's too much. Like either you can't push a person that hard. Like they can't keep doing the character year after year after year when they're like they want out of their contract, when they need to take a break. So, like, people are only human, There was some stuff that they wanted to do with Andrew Garfield Spider-Man before he got fired. Like, there was supposed to be a spin-off movie of, I believe SpiderGwen was next up. Like, they were going to kind of introduce. So Sony, even before Disney and Warner Brothers had the idea to go full-blown multiverse for their next, 10-year arc or whatever. Yeah.
They wanted to bring in the same actress who played Gwen Stacy.
Yeah, Emma Stone.
And and they were going to turn her into Spider-Gwen from another universe. So there was going to be a side movie that kind of, brought in the whole Spider-Gwen thing into Andrew Garfield's world, which would mess with him once he was with Mary Jane, because lo and behold, here's Spider-Gwen, who's exactly like his Gwen Stacy, except, spider powers. I'm sorry.
Wait, so he would... So he would meet... Oh my gosh, Andrew Garfield could meet a second Gwen Stacy after she already died.
Yeah, that's what the thing was going to be, but of course that never happened. There were a lot of... Because they...
That would be interesting.
Decided to bring Spidey into the MCU with, Marvel Civil War, and then all the other things that he was a part of, and they got rid of... what's his name? Andrew Garfield. They changed the slate of all the Spider-Man movies. But Venom still happened, but it didn't happen until much later.
But Luke, wasn't there a not to get into DC, but wasn't there a like Green Arrow and Black Canary couple that actually were from 2 different universes that got married again or something?
Yeah, that's from Injustice.
Yeah, that was interesting. I mean, that would be kind of cute if you ended up seeing somebody from your universe that died in yours, but then you ended up, falling in love with them again, another version of them. It would be kind of interesting.
Yeah. It would be.
That's cool. Yeah. That's really interesting. I mean, honestly, I'm very excited about the fact that you're having 2 companies work together. Kind of gives you some way that they can... Maybe it won't be terrible like a Disney movie. Maybe that Sony can keep Disney in check.
I mean, it's not finalized right now, but you have to remember the pandemic has caused a lot of like companies to change things. The multiverse movie was kind of always an idea for DC for the Flash thing, but it was different. Like they were going to have the guy who played Deegan and the guy who played Thomas Wayne in BVS be Flashpoint Thomas Wayne Batman.
Oh,
and then, that would have been Flashpoint, which Flashpoint was technically a multiverse movie.
Yeah.
But it would have been Flashpoint. It would have opened up the ideas to other universes.
Yeah.
So the Flash movie is kind of Flashpoint, but it's going to be more like Flash is going to be going through the multiverse looking for his version of Batman, is what the rumor is. And that's how he's going to run into Keaton and all these other different, versions of his friends in other universes.
Yeah.
So it's going to be a semi-serious / comedic movie.
Yeah.
Yep.
I think I just realized why I like Mary Jane so much compared to Gwen Stacy.
Okay.
And, I don't know, it has to do with, have you ever watched that... I don't know, there's this weird Adam Sandler movie where he says, what is it that you wanted to do when you were a little kid? What's that you always wanted to do? And from your heart, what you wanted to do, and you never stopped believing in that. And I feel like that's kind of the character of Mary Jane, because, she almost, has this childlike faith that she's going to be an actress and a singer, and she never gives up on that, even though her circumstances are very difficult. She's kind of like a Cinderella kind of person, whereas a lot of the other women that you meet, even the Mary Jane they made in this Spider-Verse, oh, I want to be a journalist. It's yeah, but did you really want to be a journalist when you were a little kid? Is that what you really want? That would make you happy? That's kind of what you settle for in life. Mary Jane never settles. She always wants something wonderful. She kind of represents hope and beauty and joy.
Just yeeted that door.
You know what I mean? She represents just trying to be yourself. That's what I feel like, and I think that's why I like Mary Jane, because when Stacy, when you were talking about her, I think what made me not like her is she's just always trying to be smarter than everyone else, and look at me, I have perfect life, everything is going well for me, I have this great externship, and I'm better than everyone else. And I just feel like with Mary Jane, she's not better than everyone else, but she just wants to be happy, and she's just so kind of childlike innocence, she's just I don't want to say the perfect girl, but she kind of is. She's a sweetheart, I feel like. Except for they ruined her in this game. No offense to the people who made this game. Or not this game. Yeah, this game. They did ruin her.
2018 Spider-Man.
They ruined her because they made her just like everyone else in the world that's just settling for a job that's really not what you actually want, Yep. Anyway, that's just what I had to say.
So, the whole Spider-Verse thing is still a rumor, but it makes sense that they would, because they have Jonah Jameson, the actor who played it in the Tobey Maguire movies, coming back. You have a lot of potential for Tobey Maguire to bounce off different things and make comparisons to his universe that just kind of was left to continue because they were going to bring in, what's his name? Oh, is this a Chrysler building? Yeah, Chrysler building.
What they could have done if I was Sony and some guy didn't show up and they were an actor for my movie, I would have honestly just gone ahead with the Gwen Stacy movie. I would have gone ahead with SpiderGwen, and then I would have just shown Spider-Man in his suit. Honestly, and then I would have slowly worked in a new actor.
Yeah,
that's what I would have done.
You could have done it.
I could have merged it. It doesn't matter. Who cares?
Well, because they were in talks about what was going to happen with Spider-Man, so it kind of put everything on hold when the, Amazing Spider-Man 2 movie came out, and then everything fell apart. They were going to have a Sinister Six movie, they were going to have a Venom movie, they were going to have a Gwen Stacy movie, and then they were going to have Spider-Man 3. And I don't know what Andrew Garfield's plan was after that, but
Well, you can't deny. Obviously, I believe they were dating at the time.
Yeah, they had chemistry.
The scenes with them were just some of the best chemistry ever with couples on screen, because it just was so you could just see her face light up when he talked to her when she was at her job, and it didn't look like it was acting. She really was happy to see him. She was smiling so big.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. It was complete real chemistry of a couple. So it was just it would be just be cool to go back and watch that. I wish they had I wish there was I wish they had done Spider-Gwen and Andrew Garfield together, because they were really great together. And Emma Stone and Andrew Garfield, they were great together.
Well, look how long it took the Venom movie to like come out of the mothballs after it was planned, like right away, as part of Sony's brand. It didn't come out until right around the time of DC's Joker movie in 2019. If I'm not mistaken, it might have come out at the end of 2018 or sometime in 2019. I don't remember. The big thing was the Joker. Everybody talking about Joker, so I don't really remember a lot of Venom. I did see Venom. I thought it was interesting, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to have a Spider-Man interact with Venom, and that's probably going to be the case, but who knows? Venom's movie could all end up, like, he might not be the only actor that Sony's like, we need to make our multiverse, so Tom Hardy, Tom Holland, you guys need to get along because you're going to be in a movie together that is Spider-Verse. Also, we're bringing back Tobey Maguire. Here's the Andrew Garfield. Here's the Jonah Jameson actor.
Oh my gosh.
And what the heck? Bruce Campbell, you never got to play Mysterio, so you're back too. So, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You never know. Because that's what Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man 4 was going to be, Bruce Campbell as Mysterio. And he would have been much better than Jake Gyllenhaal. That's just...
Luke, you could not have said a more true statement.
I know.
No offense to Jake, he was great Prince of Persia, but no.
Not a great Mysterio. Jilted Tony Stark employee. So anyway, people, that is going to do it for this episode of Spider-Man. Download this skin. It's free DLC. Check it out. And tell us your favorite Spider movie skin in the comment section below. You've got a couple. You've got Tom Holland, Raimi, and now you have all the film Spider-Mans in one game.
Yay!
Dang, that's crazy. Although, it's not the only superhero game to have 3 movie skins. Because you have Ben Affleck, Keaton, and Bale in Arkham. So, you have Garfield, Maguire, and Holland in Spider-Man 2018. Alright, we'll see you guys with more Spidey goodness tomorrow, as we have 2 other skins to look at, and we'll get to that. God bless and happy gaming.
See y'all!